Hello and welcome to Electro Nerds Academy. In today's video, we'll be covering the building blocks of object-oriented programming, OOP, specifically classes and objects. A class is a collection of functions and variables that can be used to perform specific tasks. In Arduino programming, a class is essentially the same thing as a library. An object lets you access the functions and variables inside a particular class. An object is sometimes called an instance of a class. Think of a class as a blueprint from which individual objects can be created. Imagine a blueprint for a car. The blueprint specifies the components like the body, wheels, and engine, and the functions such as driving, braking, and turning of a car. But the blueprint itself isn't a car. It's just the definition of one. Using the blueprint, you can build a car. This is your object. You can use the same blueprint to make many more cars or objects. Once created, each car can be modified independently without affecting the others. To demonstrate how classes and objects can be used in Arduino, let's take a look at the famous Blink sketch as an example. We'll start by writing the code for the class, and later we'll create objects in the sketch to access the code inside the class. First, we define the class by writing the class identifier followed by the class name, which we'll call myClass. Then we enclose the class code within curly brackets, ending the class block with a semicolon. The functions and variables inside a class can be public or private. The public and private keywords are known as access specifiers. Public functions and variables written under the public keyword can be used anywhere inside the sketch. Private functions and variables written under the private keyword can only be used inside the class. Every class needs a special function called a constructor, which gets called automatically when an object of that class is created. The constructor has the same name as the class and doesn't have a return type, not even void. A class can have more than one constructor, each with a different set of parameters. This feature, called constructor overloading, allows objects to be initialized in different ways. Let's declare a constructor with two integer parameters, pin and blink rate. In the constructor, we set the pin as an output using the pin mode function and set its initial value to low. To allow specifying the initial state of the pin, we declare another constructor with an additional Boolean parameter, state, and set the pin's initial value accordingly using digital write. Next, we implement the code to blink the LED by creating a function named start, which returns nothing, void. In this function, we set the pin to high, add a delay according to the blink rate, set the pin to low, and add the same delay again. However, the pin and blink rate variables are local to their respective functions and can't be used outside of them. To solve this, we declare two variables under the private specifier named pin and blink rate and assign them the values of the pin and blink rate parameters in the constructors. Now that we've written the class, we can create objects of this class and use them in our code. To create an object, we write the class name followed by the object name. We will name our object Object1 and add a pair of parentheses. Inside these parentheses, we can write either 2 or 3 parameters, depending on which constructor we want to use. For this example, we'll call the second constructor. So we write the 3 parameters, pin number using the onboard LED on pin 13, blink rate 100 milliseconds, and initial state, low. In the setup function, there's nothing to write because the constructor is called automatically when the object is created, setting pin 13 as an output and initializing it to low. In the loop function, we call the start function of the class by writing the object name followed by a dot and the function name, object1.start. And that's it. You've entered the world of object-oriented programming by creating your first class. Upload this code to your Arduino, and you'll see the onboard LED blinking at an interval of 100 milliseconds. Now, wouldn't it be great if we had a separate file containing the code for the class, which we could simply include in our main sketch file? The Arduino standard is to create 2 files, a header file and a source file. Let's create the header file first. We can do this by clicking on the 3 dots and selecting New Tab. We will be prompted to write the name of this new file. We can name this header file anything we want, but in this example, it will be named myClass. The header file needs to be saved with a .h extension. After hitting OK, a new code window will open for us. The header file is where the class is declared. It is also where the functions and variables used inside the class are declared. Let's walk step by step through how to write a header file. The first piece of code needed in the header file is a 3-line code called an include guard. The include guard prevents program errors if the library is accidentally included more than once in the sketch. The first line says if not defined, followed by the macro name, which could be anything. A general practice is to name it similar to the name of the header file with an added identifier, like _h in our case. So if a macro named myClass_h is not defined, then define myClass_h, which is the second line. And the third line ends the if condition with an endif. We begin writing the header file after the define statement. Next, we include the Arduino.h library by writing include Arduino.h. This core library contains all of Arduino's built-in functions like digital write, pin mode, etc. Including it in the header file makes those functions available for use in the class. Next, we define the class and write the two access specifiers. We will declare the two variables named _pin and _blink rate under the private specifier. Under the public specifier, we will declare our first constructor by writing its name, followed by a pair of parentheses with two parameters inside them, pin and blink rate, and finally, terminate this with a semicolon. Since it is a header file, we just declare the class, constructors, and functions, and their implementation will be done in the source file. Next, we declare the second constructor, which will follow the same format as the first one, but with 3 parameters. Now, we need to declare the function that will make the LED blink. For this, we first write the return type, void, the function name, start, and terminate it with a semicolon. Now, let's create the second file, called the source file, in which the actual code for the class, constructors, and functions is written. We again click on the 3 dots, select New tab, and name the new file. The source file needs to have the same name as the header file, but with a .cpp extension. After hitting OK, a new window will open. Here, we first include the Arduino.h library to use Arduino's built-in functions like pin mode, digital write, and delay. Then, we include the header file we just wrote, myClass.h. Now, we can write the first constructor definition. The constructor definition starts with the class name, followed by 2 colons and the constructor name along with its parameters. The 2 colons are called the scope resolution operator. Whenever we define a class member like constructors or functions outside the class, we have to use this operator to indicate that this member belongs to this particular class. Next, in the body of this constructor, we copy and paste the code we had written earlier for this particular constructor. We then define the second constructor with the same format and again copy the code for this constructor that we had written earlier. Next, we define the function that will make the LED blink. To define a function, we first write its return type, void, the class name, the scope resolution operator, and the function name. Since we already declared the start function in the header file, we just have to copy and paste the code from our main sketch here. That's all we need for the source file. Now navigate to Documents Arduino Libraries folder and create a new folder with the same name as the class, myClass in this example. Save the header file and the source file in this folder. Now let's see what we have to change in the main sketch file. First, we remove all the class code. Then, we include the myClass library folder we just created in our Arduino sketch. In Arduino programming, classes are treated just like libraries, so we include classes the same way libraries are included by writing #include myClass.h. And that's it. Upload this code to your Arduino, and it should work as before, but now it is much cleaner and more organized. At this point, you might be thinking, all this code and complexity just to make an LED blink? Yes, you are right. But in upcoming videos, we will interface many cool sensors, displays, and motors with Arduino, requiring extensive code. The good people of the open source world have already written libraries to interface these gadgets with Arduino. We just have to integrate these libraries within our code, and that's where this knowledge becomes helpful. In future videos, we will definitely write a custom library. So until then, stay tuned. We hope you find this tutorial helpful. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.